Right, perfect. I hope everyone can hear me and see my screen. If thumbs up, if you, any of you can just give me a thumbs up, it will be great.
Kindly be a little louder.
So I'll be a little louder. Uh, Perfectly audible, everyone? All right, we'll just begin with this. If in case you can't hear me, you can just drop me, just drop it in the chat or point it out. All right, perfect. So we'll begin with the orientation. This is for TIR14, the batch that starts from June 7th till June 15th. Uh, to begin with, just a small glimpse of the camp, what the camp looks like. As you can see, it's lush and it's beautiful. That is the crystal clear blue water of the river Tir, जिसका हमें private access है. One second, I'm getting the volume. Is anyone else having the same issue apart from Kanika? Am I audible to everyone else? Ma'am, could you just check your speakers because I think everyone else is having not having the issue. This is the same setup that I've been using since morning. Yeah, I will be louder, sure. Right. Continuing with what we were discussing. Uh, I'll just keep the mic closer to me. I hope this helps you guys. So this is the beautiful camp that is Tirthan. आपको यहाँ पे you can see the crystal clear water, which is of the Tirth River. इसका हमें private access है. We have a private waterfront campsite at Tirthan. This is a small glimpse of the larger camp that is Tirthan. This is called KPRD, the common area where everyone sits together in the evening to have tea, coffee, soup sessions, and just chit chat after the day's worth of activities. It is called KPRD because it is the full form is Khana Pina Rona Dhona. Now, this is purely because once upon a time a group of kids came and they decided to call it KPRD, and since then it's been called KPRD in the camp. Behind this, there will be a kitchen area where all the food will be prepared. On the opposite end, there will be tents lined up with the washrooms for the kids. Moving forward, just to give you a little bit more detail on where the campsite is, the larger landmark is Kullu, and it is located in between the Great Himalayan National Park, which is a heritage site for us. Now, like I mentioned, we have private access to the waterfront, which enables us to do two sorts of activities at the camp. I'll just explain you quickly what the larger chunk of activities is. Yeah, perfect. So, season will have two activities. 3 and 3 days will split the activities. One is rivercraft. Rivercraft is largely them understanding the hydrology of Tirthan River, them understanding what the water activities are like, them understanding what the current of the water is like, and how do we perform activities when they were underwater. Now, smaller, I'll take bits and pieces of the activities and what majorly makes rivercraft. To begin with, we have natural river crossing. Natural river crossing is basically two ends of the river with a tie ropes in between, and then instructors and safety help you. We cross the river, and they cross horizontally, basically. Now, going forward, I'm so sorry, just give me a second. Yeah. So yeah, after this, after river crossing activity, we also have which is called cliff jumping. Cliff jumping is basically a 7 to 8 feet boulder जिससे कि बच्चे कूदते हैं, dive into straight into the water. Now this water is fairly shallow. It's enough कि बच्चे कूद सकें, but इसमें swimming आने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. It will always be in safety gear. They will always wear safety jackets. And the water current is not as much. इसमें we need to worry about swimming that particularly. And of course, the instructor will be parametering the entire thing. Apart from this, there is a beautiful streamfall trek, जिसमें बच्चे एक natural stream के से होके trek करते हैं. There is also a waterfall trek, which basically means कि जब हम camp से निकलेंगे, we trek out about 2 hours to a beautiful waterfall, which is a natural water slide, and it sort of inculcates into a beautiful pond. तो वो पूरी एक्टिविटी बच्चे करते हैं जहाँ पे वो ट्रैक करके जाते हैं वाटरफॉल की ट्रैक ऊपर पहुंचते हैं. इट्स अबाउट 8 feet slide and then it directly ascends into a pond. So understanding and doing all of these smaller activities will largely make rivercraft. The other activity that we conduct here is backpacking. Now, backpacking basically means how to plan and execute a self-sustained expedition. बाय दिस व्हाट आई मीन इज कि बच्चे सिर्फ ट्रैक करना नहीं सीखेंगे। ट्रैक करना तो एक हिस्सा है उस पूरे एक्टिविटी का। उसके अलावा दे विल अंडरस्टैंड डिफरेंट नेचर्स ऑफ डिफरेंट प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ नेचर, व्हिच वन ऑफ द एग्जांपल्स आर लीव नो ट्रेस परहैप्स। नाउ लीव नो ट्रेस से मेरा मतलब है कि हम जब नेचर में आते हैं, जितना साफ सुथरा हमको मिला है, हम उसको उतना साफ सुथरा छोड़ के जाएंगे। वन ऑफ द स्मॉलर प्रिंसिपल। ट्रैक करने के टाइम पे आपको अपहिल एंड डाउनहिल कैसे चलना है, अपनी एनर्जी कैसे कंजर्व करनी है, पानी कैसे पीना है, ऑल ऑफ दिस विल बी बेसिकली पार्ट ऑफ the backpacking activities. Apart from this, we also have something which is called tent pitching, understanding how to pitch your own tent, understand how to make your own fire without using matchsticks, and also understanding बेसिक टेक्निक इन एडवेंचर इन आउटडोर्स कि हम मैप कैसे पढ़ते हैं, हम कंपास कैसे देख के अपना रास्ता निकालते हैं, सन डायरेक्शन देख के हम कैसे वी फाइंड आवर वे। So this all will again inculcate backpacking. So once they learn all these skills, then they will go on a night out, rather two night outs in season here. So this basically means that kids will leave the camp, they will drive to a particular starting point from where they start their trek. They will pack their bags, they will have tents and utensils and food and everything, all of it inside it. And then of course, after the proper division of labor, which is done by the kids by the way, they will trek in the meadows of Sarchi. वहाँ पे बच्चे रात को रुकेंगे, they will make a nice bonfire, they will collect wood, they will light up that bonfire, they will chop their own food, make their own food for for dinner, and then spend the night under the stars. And repeat that for the next day also. So it's a two night out. Following that, this is something which is larger part of the adventure activities that we do on the camp. There is one more aspect of the camp, which is the second half of the day, which is more like cool time activities. Now, cool time activities can include multiple things. There is minute to minute games. There can be simple team building exercises like a trust fall exercise. Or we can also have reflection sessions, which we will largely have every day. Now, reflection sessions are basically the grandeur of the camp and the fact that they are away from home and without phones will naturally put the kids in a reflective zone where they will they will start to see different in their behavioral patterns जो कि हम घर में फॉलो नहीं करते या स्कूल में फॉलो नहीं करते, क्योंकि वहाँ पे बहुत ही rigid behavioral pattern होता है हमारा. You know, kids behave in a certain way where they will be accepted or perhaps they will not get bullied even. That's the reality. So उसको ब्रेक थ्रू करके जब बच्चे घर से इतना दूर आते हैं, they get to learn about themselves. They get to learn about their likes and dislikes, which they've never done before, perhaps. As the parents के बिना अकेले आना, having new conversations with kids, having new dialogue with kids, they've not done before. Now, to take that, what is there in their subconscious, and then to facilitate that into learning, we've designed cool books. Cool books are journals जो कि हमने बिहेवियरल साइंटिस्ट के साथ बैठ के डिजाइन करी है कि बॉस ये सवाल पूछेंगे तो इससे ये थॉट्स ट्रिगर होंगे एंड इनसे ये क्वेश्चन के आंसर मिल सकते हैं हमको. Now, this basically means that kids will get to understand how do they make new friends, or perhaps how do they feel motivated for, a particular activity, or how do they even overcome a fear. But that is what happens at the second half of the day. When we are asked about okay, what is the second half of the day, cool time activity is a broader term, and इसके अंदर ये सब होता है. Now you can see this is the photo of the stream walk. This is the kids going for the night out, and this is the height of the river, and this is the river crossing that I was mentioning earlier. When we move towards the particular flow of the camp day by day, we will depart on day one from Delhi. Terminal 1, not 2. Please note Terminal 1. Terminal 2 is under maintenance, and that's why we're shifting to Terminal 1. Sorry, yeah, with some disturbance. So we're shifting to Terminal 1. We'll depart at around 6 p.m. Day 2, we arrive at the camp around breakfast 8 a.m. The first half of the day of day two will largely be around expectation settings of the camp, or perhaps they will understand कि camp के norms क्या है, camp के rules क्या है, आपकी expectation क्या है camp से, what do you expect to learn out of this camp, by the end of it, some understanding of what are the norms and settings of the camp. Just one second. Huh? Sorry, parents. There was a little disturbance on my end. Yeah. So understanding the camp, the norms, understanding their peers, the tent allocation is what the first half of the day will be, followed by just them getting into a small zone of what backpacking is. So backpacking में हम क्या acclimatizing hikes करवाते हैं, कैसे ट्रैक करना है, क्या प्रिंसिपल है, एक बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग उसकी उनको मिल जाएगी. Now going forward on day three, now since this docket is designed for multiple groups, but this one is a rather a smaller group, so we'll probably conduct one large group itself. We will decide to do water activities for the first 2 days. Now, in this one, day three is basically a waterfall trek, perhaps, or river crossing to begin with in the first half of the day. And then the second half of the day sort of comes into the cool time activities that we spoke on earlier. Day four again, we will again do river activities. River craft के अंदर जो हमारी activities पहले हमने की थी, let's say हमने river crossing और cliff jumping पहले करी. This now we can perhaps look at natural river, the stream walk or perhaps the waterfall slide. Going forward, then day 5 and day 6 is basically them starting their backpacking expedition. जो तो उन्होंने पहले day 1 पे backpacking समझी थी, जो उन्होंने इनका acclimatization किया था, जो day hike पे गए थे, जहाँ पे tent pitching उन्होंने सीखी थी, compass पढ़ना सीखा था, fire बनानी सीखी थी, all of that, those skills will be put into good use on day 4 and 5. So early morning we take a drive to Sharji, where basically we start, it's a 25-minute drive from the camp, and from there it's a 2.5 kilometer trek to Jumala. So ये trek बच्चे, they'll do in the meadows of Sharji, and then they'll pitch their own tents, cook their own food, and they'll spend the night under the stars. Moving forward, they will wake up on day 6 and they will continue their entire day's trek in the same Himalayan meadows. And then forwarding that on day 7, early morning, they will return back to the camp to have another day of river activities. Also, what we can do on last day, I mean day 8, is that day 8 will be helter skelter and feedback session. Now, helter skelter basically means कि we have this internal Olympics का एक version है हमारा जहाँ पे बच्चों ने जो जो skills सीखे हैं students in regards to the hard skills which can be water activities and backpacking, and also the soft skills that they have learned in and around teamwork. We will pick that up, make elements of that, and then start making games out of it. We've done this multiple times in the past. We do it every camp. So these games basically will give them a refresher of their entire camp journey. And considering that they will be making smaller teams and playing for points, well, not prizes, they'll be playing good spirits, but they will be playing for points. So it's basically for bragging rights. It will be followed by feedback session, and then we'll say goodbye to the camp, and we leave the camp post lunch around 2 p.m. to reach Delhi back next morning 6 a.m. Now going forward, yeah, this is one small photo of the night out. This is not the tent that the kids will be staying in the night. This is the cooking wala tent, which is the larger tent, जहाँ पे सारा सामान dump होता है हमारा. Going forward to safety. Now, safety is the biggest question that parents ask कि हम बच्चों को safe कैसे रखते हैं? आप कैसे make sure करेंगे कि मेरे बच्चे safe हैं? Uh, Safety is a wider umbrella where we can subcategorize into two smaller umbrellas. So, physical safety is one aspect of it. Physical safety में हम क्या क्या कर सकते हैं? We can make sure our equipment is certified. Not just certified, our equipment is of UIAA standards. UIAA. You can Google that term. That is the international certification for any, adventure equipment out there. So what the equipment we use is the top-notch equipment that is available, period, for any adventure activities. Apart from this, the instructors that we are having on the camp, the instructors that are onboarded on the camp, they come from Nehru Institute of Mountaineering or JIM or NOLS. These are the, like you can see here, these are the top institutes in the country जहाँ से instructors आ सकते हैं. These are the cream of the country. So they are very well versed in their outdoor skills, which is just one scrutiny, one layer scrutiny of an instructor. Because post that, it sort of transcends into emotional safety also. क्योंकि फिजिकल सेफ्टी के लिए आपका गेयर अच्छे है, आपके इंस्ट्रक्टर्स अच्छे हैं, यू प्री रेकिड द इंटायर लोकेशन, you've done demos multiple times, that is largely what can confine into physical safety. And of course, medical support is there. But emotional safety is a deeper nuanced thing, where we need to make sure that जब इंस्ट्रक्टर्स को हम ऑन बोर्ड कर रहे हैं तो सिर्फ उनके आउटडोर स्किल्स के बेसिस पे नहीं कर रहे हैं. वी आर ऑन बोर्डिंग देम प्योरली बिकॉज वी थिंक दे ग्रेट गार्डियंस एट द कैंप. वी आर ग्रेट विद वर्किंग विद किड्स. They are great in terms of understanding a child's needs, being patient with them, being approachable in their demeanor, being, sensitive about their needs. That is what makes an instructor on the camp. So, you can imagine if the ratio is 1:6. I mean, for every 6 kids, I'll have an instructor on the camp. But let's say I didn't. I had one instructor and there's a group of 20 kids. And if that instructor is not capable of gauging every kid and seeing who is the excited one, who is the quiet and reserved one, किससे मुझे extra dialogue बनाना है बैठ के, so that the kids open up, किसके साथ मुझे बैठ के ध्यान रखना है कि ये ज्यादा उछल कूद कर रहे हैं, इनका सेफ्टी का बहुत ध्यान रखना है बॉस. अगर ये ना कर पाए तो वो यहाँ पे इंस्ट्रक्टर नहीं होंगे. So they are very well with working with kids is what you need to remember for their emotional safety. They are with the kids throughout the day, not just during activities. They are with the kids from 6 a.m. in the morning till 9:30 p.m. in the evening, making sure that they're serving them food so that they're having enough meals. They're making sure कि अगर हम खाना सर्व कर रहे हैं तो वो खुद जाके सर्वर एंड पे जाके खड़े हो जाते हैं ताकि हम मेक श्योर करें कि बच्चे इनफ सर्विंग्स ले रहे हैं. वेदर चेंज होता है तो उनको बोलना कि बॉस यू नीड टू वेयर जैकेट्स राइट नाउ, और टेकिंग केयर ऑफ देयर हाइड्रेशन. Or if there's a conflict of opinion amongst kids, facilitating that in the most nuanced and the most sensible fashion is what an instructor would be doing at the camp. That's how we make sure the kids are safe. Apart from this, transport is pretty standard. It's pretty, it's out there. The keyword is luxury recliner seater buses. Now, these luxury recliner seater buses can be the Mercedes Benzes or the Volvos or the Indo Canadians of the world. You can expect that quality out of this. These buses will largely be till the last mile. हम लोग यहाँ से शुरू करते हैं दिल्ली से. We have one stop at dinner point at Gulshan Dhaba in Moorsal. Uh, so around 6 p.m. we leave from here. Around 9 p.m. we reach at the dinner point. Post that we take the Chandigarh Ambala bypass, the normal route towards Manali. Avoid the Manali tunnel and go straight towards Ott. AUT Ott is where we will stop. उसके बाद we'll shift into smaller MUVs and cover the last mile of the journey, which is about 1 hour. So in the totality of 12 hours of the journey, 1 hour is covered by MUVs and 11 hours will be covered by the larger buses. I think we've discussed the equipment beforehand, everything. Carabiners, helmets, harnesses, ropes, everything is of UIA standards and it's regularly audited by our expert instructors. By audit, I mean before every camp starts, before every activity starts, while demos. So there are multiple layers to it. There will be a medical support on the camp. This is basically an on-camp MBBS doctor who will live with the kids throughout the journey. We have all the first aid medicines at the camp. If you have want to send any medicines, so like you might have filled a form in the application form where there would be a medical section. अगर आपने उसके अंदर कुछ भरा है, तो वो medical note इस doctor के पास even before the camp starts is already available. That doctor will go through the entire list, see किस बच्चे को कब कौन सी दवाई administer होनी है, and then he will brief the entire camp कि बॉस ये बच्चे हैं जिनका हमें स्पेशल ध्यान रखना है, जिनकी ये दवाई एडमिनिस्टर होनी है. So we make sure that we keep track of this. Apart from this, we will have an emergency vehicle right outside the camp 24/7. We have mapped out the nearby hospitals. Banjar mein hai एक government hospital which is 30 minutes away. There's also one in Kullu, which is a multi-specialty hospital, which is about an hour's drive, or 20 minutes. Having said that, हमारे कैंप पे इस एज कैटेगरी में ऐसी एक्टिविटी के साथ कभी ऐसी कोई नौबत नहीं है जहाँ पे कोई बहुत फेटल इंजरी हो गई हो. We've at max what we've seen is that we're going for a test run where we're seeing you know एक sprain है but just to make sure we'll go and get an X-ray done. That is about it. And in these situations the parents will be called then and there, of course. Moving forward to accommodations and meals. So I'll make you imagine the accommodation with me. Imagine a 12 by 10 feet tent. It's a canvas tent. It's built on a 2.5 feet concrete platform. The thing that separates concrete and the kids is a mat, a dari. Uske upar, we have 4 mattresses on the top of it. They are not beddings, they are just mattresses. These tents are stationary in one place, fixed by multiple poles and ropes. About 4 kids can easily stay inside the tents. And apart from the tents, we have a common set of Western washrooms, one for the boys, one for the girls. Similarly, tents, one for the boys, one for the girls, a combined set of tents. Now, these washrooms will have separate changing areas, separate bathing areas, separate WCs with hand faucets and hot running water. So, just to understand, for the kids, When you come to the camp, when you see the accommodation and the washrooms, just make sure that have this expectation set in your head that this is a camp. It might not match the aesthetic appeal of when we go out for luxury holidays, because that's our intent there. We were going to gain some luxury there. यहाँ पे हम अपने कंफर्ट जोन से बाहर निकलने आ रहे हैं। लगाने को आजकल लोग टेंट्स के अंदर पहाड़ों में टीवी एसी सब लगा सकते हैं, बट वी हैव स्ट्रिक्टली रिफ्रेन फ्रॉम दैट एंड देयर इज अ रीजन टू इट. We want the kids to just come out from that entirety of comfort and everything and just be in the camp. There's a feeling of camp that you go by. So this is the best camp that you will see, not the resort. So that expectation you should have in your head when you come. Going forward, meals, it's very simple, fairly simple to understand the meals. मैं पहले आपको बताता हूँ कि दिन भर में हम खाते क्या क्या हैं. So about 6 a.m. we wake up. At 7 a.m. we have our first tea, coffee, hot chocolate, bonvita. Then we have a morning energizer activity at 7:30 a.m. By 8 a.m. we have our breakfast. Breakfast will of course be, vegetarian options will always have the idli dosas, the chola bhaturas, the upma, the sambar, the vadas and theplas and all on the parathas of the world. So that is a spread there. And of course, if you like to eat eggs, then there are eggs, of course, there. There is cornflakes, there is milk, there are fruits there. So that's the largest spread of the breakfast. It's a buffet system. Apart from this, then we go from our breakfast to 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., which is your major adventure activity time. Post that, we come back to the camp. 1 to 2:30 p.m. is the lunch time, where the larger spread again will be the seasonal dal, roti, sabzi, the mixed veggies, the kadhai paneers, the salad, the papad, the raita, the rice, and all of that. Basically, the spread that you have at home. So multiple varieties of that. Now that is what we serve at lunch and similarly at dinner as well. डिनर में हम नॉन वेज भी सर्व करेंगे एंड इट विल बी अवेलेबल अबाउट 4 to 5 times in a span of 7 days. So you can take out the 2 days that you will be on the night out and rest you would probably have non-veg in the evening as well. Now, post lunch, we have a cool time activity, which is about 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And then we have again a tea, coffee, snack. Then around 7 p.m. we have soup time, and then 8:30 p.m. we have dinner time. Some kids are not used to eating this much. We completely understand, guys. You will be exposed to new adventure activities and such kind of physical exertion for the first time. So we'll make sure that we keep asking you and keep making sure that you are filled enough. We will keep offering you food, and we would appreciate if you have something because we've thought through this entire meal plan thoroughly. Just to make sure that you guys are energized enough that you can do these activities. Going forward, the travel plan, I think we've discussed it before also. I'll just reiterate it once again. We depart at 6 p.m. from Terminal 2. We arrive at the camp at 8 a.m. On the return journey, one day prior to the departure day, arrival day, we will depart from the camp at around 2:30 p.m. in noon and come back at 6 a.m. here. Mode of transport is, like I mentioned earlier, comfortable AC Volvos and Benz buses. Now we come to the expectation settings. This is a major one, guys. Whatever I've told you till now is largely tangible, logistical, what will happen in reality. This is more towards setting up certain understandings before coming to the camp. So to begin with, like I said, it's not a luxury camp or a resort. So you need to make sure that hum aapko jo tent denge, it will be clean. We make sure it's to the mint condition. But we expect you to follow certain social etiquette where we feel कि अगले 7 दिन ये आपका घर है और अगर आपका घर है तो हम चाहते हैं कि इसे आप भी उतना ही साफ रखें जितना हम रखना चाहते हैं. So within your tent mates, you can know them beforehand or you might become friends on the journey. But you need to make sure that you coherently live in a way where everybody is comfortable. Similarly, for washrooms, we will clean the washroom thrice a day. There's a standard protocol there. But apart from that, when we are using shared washrooms, it's a good practice to enter a washroom, see that it's clean, and leave it as clean as you entered it. That is something that we expect you guys to do. If you've mentioned something in the chat, once we're done with the entire thing, I will come to that and we can have a Q&A session. Thank you for the patience. Communication and updates. Now, parents, I need you to listen to this very, very carefully. With the orientation message जो आपको मिला होगा, उसके साथ एक WhatsApp channel का link भी मिला होगा. If not, you can ask me for any guidance after this call. You can click on the link, you need to click the follow button and you need to click the bell button so that you know that this particular channel पे मेरे सारे आने वाले updates आएंगे. Going forward, all communication will be on this channel. This channel will not be visible to you on your app, like the normal chat screen है वहां पे visible नहीं होगा, but जो आप WhatsApp खोलते हैं उस chat screen पे नीचे एक बार होता है जहाँ पे chats, communities, groups and updates का एक button होगा. When you click on that button, you will be able to locate this channel there. Now, going forward, the departure details, the Google pinpoint location of the departure, the airport coordinator's number, the arrival on the camp information, the everyday updates on 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. will be on this channel. Talking about updates, daily updates, this will be in regards to what the group is doing, what they've eaten, what the food is like, what the weather is like, what are the energy levels, what are the activities planned for the day, so on and so forth. So 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. you'll get updates with group pictures. 11 a.m. will be one or two group pictures and 6 p.m. will be about 15-20 group pictures. Now, parents, you need to understand this, that group pictures are purely for updates. They're not the entirety of the dump. We've clicked a lot of pictures. By the end of the camp, we click about 500, 700 pictures, जिसको हम एक drive में upload करते हैं, but that's for the last day. This is purely for updates. Kids, I would make you a small request, because you know what, your parents are looking forward to those photos पूरे दिन में. They're anxious, they've not seen you, and they'd love to see you. So if the photos are being clicked, please make sure that you're there. We'll of course gather you all for group pictures, but when the photos are being clicked, please be attentive. Just say hi, just do a smile so that your parents can see you. Parents often get worried when the kids are looking here and there, and they feel that the kids are not feeling uh, happy in the camp, when in reality the kids have no idea that ये मेरे parents ऐसे सोचने वाले हैं, मेरी एक फोटो से उनको ऐसा लगेगा, and so on and so forth. So make sure you're just there, and if you're not feeling that happy, then please go and talk to an instructor so that we can fix that for you. But if you are, then please make sure to just give a nice smile and wave at the camera so that your parents can see you. Apart from this, no gadgets and phones and other any gadgets, I'd say, smartwatches, even Kindle devices are refrained. And it's purely because of the reason that after so long, for the first time perhaps in their lives, they will be there in a place where they can start engaging with new people. This is a life skill that they should know. Often these days, if our external environment is a little bit tough, we switch completely to an internal environment. Phones में देखने की आदत लग गई है हमको, and this avoids the feeling of confrontation, the feeling of articulating our feelings and talking about it, which I think is not so good of a habit at this age, at any age for that matter. So this is the need for not having phones on the camp. Parents will be updated regardless, but for you kids, you need to make sure that you come without any phones so that you can have that space, that headspace in your head कि मुझे नए लोगों से बात करनी है. I will strike conversations, I will talk about my feelings and so on and so forth. At this age, if kids are not fed, I would be a little bit sad. मैं चाहता हूँ कि मतलब इस टाइम पे तो मतलब हर बच्चा कुछ ना कुछ खेल ही रहा हो, कुछ ना कुछ एक्टिव हो ही. When you grow in age, then I understand the academic pressure. But right now, I think you should be good enough to play some sports every day. If not, please start jogging, running, cycling, swimming, or playing any sports that you feel are fine for the next few days till the camp starts. Zero tolerance for bullying or indiscipline. I think everyone on the call will agree on this. So like I mentioned earlier, when you go to a place which has kids coming from all over the country, multiple walks of life, you really don't know कि कोई कैसे बात करता है, किसी का अपना तरीका होता होगा बात करने का, अपनी लिंगो होगी, and it might not suit well with us. ये कैंप पे भी हो सकता है दोस्तों, ये कहीं और भी हो सकता है. This can happen at your new coaching class or new class or anywhere in the world where you're going with the kids, or any of your peers. Take my advice, the right thing to do is not a tit for tat. उनको वैसे जवाब देने में कोई फायदा नहीं है, because then the bullying is nullified with the bullying. So might as well, the best thing to do is कि अपने आसपास पहली अथॉरिटी फिगर को ढूंढिए, उसको बताइए अपनी प्रॉब्लम. हमारे केस में हमारे इंस्ट्रक्टर्स को बताइए कि व्हाट दिस पर्सन सेड समथिंग जो मुझे इतना अच्छा नहीं लगा, सो आई माइट एज वेल just talk to this person. uh, Instructors आपको बताएंगे कि what, let us facilitate this entire thing properly. हम उनसे जाके बात करेंगे. We'll conduct a one-on-one session with you guys, and we'll make sure that issue is resolved there. Use of substance that is mentioned here is of course prohibited, and will be, the kids will be sent back to back immediately. I do not expect this anyway. You're young kids. Having said that, no junk food or tuck is something I 100% expect you guys to bring. So In your journey, parents, you can of course pack some light snacks, light lunches, which is perfectly fine. जर्नी के टाइम पे हम खा सकते हैं, नॉट इनफ इतना भी नहीं खाना कि हमारे होम वो क्या कहते हैं मोशन सिकनेस वाला प्रॉब्लम शुरू हो जाए, बट वी कैन हैव देम, दैट इज फाइन. Once you reach the camp and you have any food left, the food, the medicines, and the money will be given to the instructors on day one. We will have that, pack that, and keep it safe and return it back to you on the last day. Purely because two things. अगर हम चिप्स वगैरह खा के पेट भर लेंगे तो फिर हम दाल रोटी नहीं खाएंगे. दैट इज द मेन सोर्स ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन दैट यू नीड फॉर द एक्टिविटीज. सो दैट इज रीजन नंबर वन. रीजन नंबर टू, इफ यू स्नीक इन फूड एंड इमेजिन आप अपने ऐसे टेंट में एक चॉकलेट ले गए एंड देन सुबह सुबह दो बाइट खा के निकले एंड दबा दिया उसको, एंड वापस आए, आप टेंट पेन बंद किया आपने, अब गए अपनी एक्टिविटी, वापस आए, आप देख रहे हैं कि टेंट के अंदर एंड्स ही एंड्स एंड rodents. You wouldn't like that, right? And it's purely because the mere aroma of anything will invite ants and rodents to your tent. So we don't want that. And I think neither do you. So for that matter, I think it's good not to carry any junk food or stuff, especially if it is hidden from us. Pocket money, parents, I would say if the kids are flying from other cities for this program, maybe if you think airport mein transit mein kuch khana is a good proposition, then yeah, sure. You can send money accordingly for that. Or apart from that, uh, maybe 2000, 2500 is a good amount to send with them, purely because we display our merchandise on the last day of the camp. And if kids would like to purchase that, they should be able to purchase that. That's about it. So this is still the information docket. I will quickly just share my screen for the kit list. हम kit list एक बार discuss कर लेते हैं for the camp. And then, of course, we can move towards the Q&A session. I believe there are some question and answers that, I mentioned in the chat even right now. I will come to that once this is over. So I'll just quickly share my screen. Perfect. I hope it is visible and I'm audible again. I'm holding the mic this close. So yeah, it's quite self-explanatory, but let me take you through it one more time. The weather will range from 22 to 34 in the daytime and 15 to 24 degrees in the night. We might experience one or two occasional rainfall days where the weather might drop. For that, we need to add one poncho and a raincoat, like we've mentioned here. We have them at the camp also, but it's a size specific thing, so it's a good proposition to carry your own. Now coming back to basic apparels, 7 to 8 t-shirts, quick dry and in dark colors. क्विक ड्राई बेसिकली वही टी-शर्ट कपड़ा होता है जो आप यूजुअली पहनते हैं जर्सीज में या फिर खेलते वक्त. नाउ 7 to 8, if possible all are good, if not at least 4 to 5 तो होनी चाहिए, because you will be in water activities, you will otherwise also sweat a lot, and we don't have the laundry service at the camp, and neither will you have the time to wash the clothes. You can of course dry them at the end of your tents, but apart from that, I think carrying quick dry is better because they of course dry faster even if you want to dry them. 4 pairs of shorts, two should be quick dry, I think fairly simple to understand. Two sweatshirts, full sleeves and warm, purely because weather will drop in the night. Also, a fleece jacket apart from this is also important. Let's say if you feel too much cold, then you can always club a sweatshirt on the top of, or a fleece jacket on the top of a sweatshirt. 3 track pants can be quick dry, can be normal hosey track pants, not fleece track pants. The weather is not so cold for a fleece track pant. 7 to 8 pairs of socks. Yes, you will need a fresh pair every day. A towel, which should be quick dry, a cap or a sunshade, purely because पहाड़ों की धूप direct होती है and you will feel it on your head, especially in the noon time, and that might cause headaches. So it's better to always wear a cap. Undergarments sufficient, 2 pairs of night clothes and one warm jacket. These can be cotton, hosiery, whichever you think is fine. You can get them. And yeah, we would appreciate if you actually wear night clothes, because मैंने अपनी हिस्ट्री में आज तक किसी बच्चे को नाइट क्लोथ अबाइड करते हुए नहीं देखा है. सुबह एक्टिविटी करी, दोपहर को आके नहाए, जो चेंज किया वो गया बैग में, और जो नया पहना वो अब नया नाइट क्लोथ है और दिन का सारा कपड़ा है. सो अगर इफ यू वांट टू यूज दीज 2 pairs of night clothes separately, I would appreciate that. All right, footwear, 3 things you need to carry. A shoe, a sandal, and an aqua shoe or a croc. तीनों में you need to make sure one thing when you check the sole and you sort of pinpoint or pinch into it. अगर वो अंदर जाया, if it sort of sink your finger sinks in, that is a foam sole. We don't want a foam sole. We want a rubber sole which is sturdy. तो बेसिकली जब आप पहाड़ों में होते हैं, आपका टेरेन अनइवन होता है, आपके पैरों को सपोर्ट करने के लिए एक रबर सोल बहुत जरूरी है. Like in this shoe you can see, like in this sandal you can see. Now if you are planning to buy something new, I would say buy them today, because you will need to check कि मुझे से shoe bite होती है कि नहीं, can I wear it for longer hours, is it comfortable or not. If you have an existing shoe with a rubber sole, that's perfectly fine. Any sport shoe with a rubber sole is perfectly fine. Just make sure कि उसका sole इतना rugged नहीं है कि इसका purpose ही खत्म हो गया. It should be fairly in a good condition. Now, apart from this, when I talk about sandals, this will be your replacement for slippers on the camp, because जब आप activities नहीं कर रहे होंगे तब भी camp की surface uneven है और आपकी ankle को support होना चाहिए. This will basically make sure that your ankle is supported. If you don't wear this, there are high chances that you will end up twisting your ankle in that terrain, and we don't want that, right? One pair of aqua shoes or Crocs for water activities. Aqua shoes is more preferable in my opinion because they're tight, they're slip-ons, and उनका sole rubber का होता है. Readily available at Decathlon for I'd say as less as 800 rupees or 1000 rupees, and it's a good investment to have. So I'd say just purchase an aqua shoe for water activities and you'll be good. Personal toiletries, of course, the shower gel, the toothbrush, the paste. Sunscreen, यहाँ पे we've written SPF 30 plus. I'd say 50 plus is also good. Rather, मैं बोलूँगा 50 plus लाइए. Lip balm and a cold cream. Mosquito repellents, you can get sprays or patches, whatever you think is fine. A pair of sunglasses, a pair of torch or a headlamp, sorry, a torch or a headlamp. Plastic bag for wet clothes. If you don't end up drying them, then you can put it in the plastic bag. A water bottle, which is about 750 milliliters to 1 liter. इससे ज़्यादा बड़ी bottle difficult to carry and heavy. इससे छोटी bottle will not have enough water, so stick to this capacity. Okay, so sleeping bags, yeah, of course, you need to carry sleeping bags of your own. They should suffice by at least say 10 to 15 degrees तक suffice कर जाने चाहिए वो sleeping bags. वैसे sleeping bags आपके पास होने चाहिए. Now, when we talk about sleeping bags on the camp, if you don't want to carry sleeping bags, that is perfectly fine. We wash, sun dry, sanitize all sleeping bags by the end of every camp. So you can borrow it from us as well if you're not planning to bring your own. Only reason we advocate bringing your own is post-COVID, anything of personal use, it's better to have your own. Inflatable pillows, guys, if you want to bring inflatable pillows, you can bring inflatable pillows. It's for your own comfort. We don't have these inflatable pillows at the camp. So if you want to use them, you should bring them. Medical medicines and glasses. All right. So medicines, like I mentioned earlier, any medicine that you plan to send, you will make a small pouch out of it. Usme sari medicines, if possible, a note to the doctor, and that entire pouch should be handed over to the doctor at the camp on day one. Spectacles, अगर आप specs पहनते हैं, avoid lenses because उसमें धूल मिट्टी जाती है and then it's a whole mess. You can't really take that out and clean that every time that you're out in the wilderness. But if you're carrying spectacles, maybe carry an extra pair is a good proposition. You're in a camp. आप खेलते खेलते कभी आपने गिरा दिया या कुछ हो गया, टूट गया, so it should always have a separate pair with you. When we talk about packing, uh, two things in packing. Largely, you will have one big rucksack, which is about 50 to 60 liters in capacity. This is your almirah. This is not something you will be carrying every day. इसमें आप अपना सारा सामान रखेंगे. It will be a tad bit heavier, but you will not be carrying it that often. From the airport to the bus compartment, from the bus compartment's parking, from the bus compartment basically जब आप पार्किंग में बस खड़ी करेंगे हम लोग, तो वहां से लेके आपका जो टेंट तक का सफर है, वो 40 मीटर की वॉक आपने कैरी करना है. उतनी सी वॉक के लिए अगर आप कोई ट्रॉली लेके आते हैं तो इट विल नॉट मेक सेंस, बिकॉज वहां पे आप चला नहीं पाएंगे उसको, विद द व्हील्स एंड द अनइवन टेरेन लाइक आई मेंशन्ड अर्लियर. इट्स बेटर टू कैरी योर rucksack. एंड सिमिलरली ऑन योर वे बैक फ्रॉम द टेंट टिल द बस, इतना ही इसका सफर होने वाला है. इट्स बेसिकली योर almirah. What you will be carrying every day is a small bag, a day bag, which is about a school bag का size का होता है वो. उसके अंदर आप उससे निकाल के अपना water bottle, hand sanitizer, sunscreen, cap, shades, all of that that you need on a daily basis. You will use that for every day. Now parents do ask me कि while they're going on the night out उस टाइम पे क्या आप ये रक्सैक यूज करेंगे? नो, उस टाइम पे भी नहीं करेंगे। उस टाइम पे हम इनको अलग से बैग्स एलोकेट करेंगे जिसमें लिमिटेड सामान होगा। 2 दिन के इनके कपड़े जो उनको चाहिए वो, और इसके अलावा इनके अपने पर्सनल स्लीपिंग बैग्स एंड स्लीपिंग मैट्स and maybe tent or utensils or food, depending on what division of labor these guys have decided for themselves. So that will be a lighter bag. It is fairly easier to trek in that. Cash, I've mentioned earlier, about 2,500 to 3,000 is a good enough amount. Of course, do not carry mobile phones. Do not carry any expensive jewelry. It's self-explanatory. These are बहुत छोटी छोटी होती हैं, and if they sort of you know end up dropping them involuntarily, it's very hard to find them. Uh, I would say avoid electronic gadgets like smartwatches or tabs or Kindle even, like I mentioned earlier. You can carry a camera. Uh, this is not a good enough depiction of a camera. I'd say this is a DSLR actually. So maybe a small digicam is what you should be carrying, which is easily you can fit in your pocket. It's light. You can manage it. DSLR would be tough to manage in a camp, so avoid that. Maybe a small camera is good. We have charging stations at the camp in the main KPRD area. All right, kids are flying from different cities. One important thing if you're flying from different cities to us, the way you hand over your phones and your, your gadgets and your maybe paperwork like Aadhaar card or Aadhaar card photocopy or ticket ka copy. Don't lose end it over us. Like, it becomes very difficult to, keep track of it once everyone's, stuff is collected. I'd say make a pouch, put your charger, phone, hard copy or soft copy of a hard copy of your tickets or your ID, and a power bank is a must because once you reach there, once you reach back to Delhi next morning, the final morning, your phones will be just here in the office for 7 days without charging. You will not have charge in your phones and you will need access to your phone. So for that, we want to make sure that you're not confined to looking for I'd say a charging port क्योंकि आपको वहाँ ऐसे एयरपोर्ट पे आसानी से नहीं मिलेंगे. You should have a power bank so that you can immediately charge your phones. I think I've been speaking for a while now. There are okay. We will be dropping and picking up a child in Route Chandigarh Kharar. Uh, Mr. Manish, I believe you've spoken to anyone from our team regarding this.
Yes, I have.
Uh,
Nitin.
sure, perfect. Nitin has informed then my operations team if you've spoken to him. Perfect. The kind of tents we have at the camp. Okay, so the ones they'll be staying on a daily basis, like I mentioned, these will be alpine tents इनको बोलते हैं with canvas 10 by 12 feet. When they're going for the night out, smaller dome tents जहाँ पे 2 बच्चे आराम से रह सकते हैं जो उनको खुद पिच करने हैं. Does every tent have attached bathrooms? No, 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 no. There are no tents who have attached bathrooms. There will be a 20-30 meter walk from your tent for a common set of washrooms. How many total kids on the 7th June camp? Just allow me a second. I will see that information. I will let you know. Currently, we have 12 kids on the camp. Parents, if you have any other questions, you can just raise your hands and I can take that bit by bit. Okay, from Delhi, the bus that they will be traveling in will have only camp instructors and the kids on board or other passengers. No, no, ma'am, it's a private bus. It's a private bus. Only team Inme and kids, no other people. Out of the 12 kids we have 3 boys and 9 girls, by the way. I hope I was audible enough throughout my spiel. I hope you could hear me, guys. Any other questions? You can, if no, then my bit is over. You can also choose to drop off the call if that's fine with you. If you have any questions, you can raise your hands and I can, more than happy to help you guys out.
Mute. Mute. Sir, one minute.
Ma'am, your voice is distorting a bit. Probably you can type it out in the chat box. Do the kids need full sleeve t-shirts also? I would recommend yes. Out of the 7 to 8 t-shirts, maybe send 2 or 3 full sleeve t-shirts क्योंकि शाम को मच्छर होते हैं कैंप में and we have mosquito repellent sprays and patches and creams, but wearing fuller layer will always help. So maybe 2 or 3 full sleeve t-shirts is a good proposition to send. Yes, there will be electricity in the camp. Of course, there will be electricity in the camp. So, Manish sir, I believe you've been in touch with Nitin. You can always reach out to Nitin for any sort of, communication that has to be passed on to the camp. We don't share people's numbers who are on the camp purely because of logistical reasons. So when you recommend night suits, do you mean summer night suits like t-shirt and shorts or like pajamas? Well, whatever the kids are comfortable in, ma'am. You have to make sure that the kids are comfortable in. Normal summer night suits, t-shirt, pajama, t-shirt, shorts, whichever combination your kid is comfortable in. Will mobile phones be allowed in the camp? Archita ma'am, no, strictly not. The only communication, like I mentioned, the communication process will remain via WhatsApp channels. And in case of an emergency at the camp, where we feel that making the child speak to you is a good proposition or informing you of something, we will directly communicate to you. If no more questions, can we have can we end the meeting? You can probably give me a thumbs up with that. All right, perfect. I'll stop the recording and we can end the call.